Kimberly with Knit for Brains. And I know it's been some time. Some of you know, hopefully most of you know, my husband and I, the Brit, we are touring through Australia. We just finished our cruise. We got off just under a week ago, having a nice little cup of tea. We finished up in Sydney. It's been a couple days in Sydney, and we've actually moved on to Perth and Fremantle. I'm going to do a video on that one in just a second, but I wanted to tell you all about Sydney. It was amazing, and so I'm keeping up with my tradition of doing the local yarn store crawl. Love to our local yarn stores. Found an amazing store in downtown Sydney on, I believe it was on York Street, called Morris & Sons. Now, for those of you who maybe are living in Australia or even in New Zealand, you probably have heard about these guys because they've been around for over 50 years. They started back in the 1970s as a kind of an arts and crafts store. They sold cookbooks and tapestries and needlepoint supplies and crafting supplies and all kinds of things. Then they moved into framing, and then in the 2000s they moved into the knitting and of course then the crochet, whatever you want. So beautiful, beautiful store right down in the heart of downtown Sydney. And so I was able to find them and stop in. There was another store that I wanted to check out called the Granny Square, but it wasn't open on the days we were in town. Well, as it turns out, they own the store as well. So it was really great to go in there and to meet the salespeople and just kind of take a look around the store. So take a look here, join me as we tour around, and then I'll show you what I got. Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and we've made it to Sydney, and this is the first store that we were able to find. It's called Morris & Sons. It's been around, they just celebrated their 50th anniversary. So we're going to go ahead and take a look inside and see what they've got, see if they've got anything that is signature to Australia. So as you know, when I'm doing these yarn crawl stores or the local yarn store experiences, I only want to buy something that is local. I want to give some love to the stores, the brick and mortars that were able to hang in there through COVID, who are sticking it out, because online is such a huge presence. It's just so hard for some of these stores to keep going. So of course I want to give them some love, showcase them, give you an idea of what's in there. Morris & Sons has been around for over 50 years. They have an amazing reputation. Beautiful store in the heart of downtown Sydney. So it's, if you live in downtown Sydney, then it's probably easy to get to. But parking was going to be a problem, so it's not an easy store to get to. But I think because it's been around for so long and people have been so used to going there, I think they moved into this space in the early 2000s. They don't seem to have a problem. It was busy when I was there, but they also have an online presence as well. So if you live in the Australia area, they do ship countrywide. Not sure about throughout the rest of the country, but of course I'm going to include all the information in the links in the notes below. So I was able to find some yarn. This is the Morris & Sons Empire 4-ply. Now this is 100% Australian super fine merino wool, and it's gorgeous. It's really, really soft. Doesn't have a lot of pilling, not a lot of fuzz, so it's not going to pill. I talked to the girl about that. They had this particular color, which I loved, and I don't even know if it's called Acadia. Acadia is the color. I loved it. It's got a lot of purples going through there, a lot of greens. I just really loved these colors. They had a lot of these different color schemes in all the different plies. So I got some 4-ply, but there was also an 8-ply and a 10-ply. So it really just depends on what you want. So these skeins were $11.95 a piece. Now that's Australian dollars. So if you're in the US, it's about $1.60 something, I think it was, per the US dollar. So we actually are doing really good right now. We have a good exchange rate. So these were 11, so that comes out to about $7 and something like that for 100% superwash merino wool, which is a great deal because that is, 7 something. That's really more of a acrylic or a cotton, one of more of your mainstream price yarns. But this is what I got. So it's called Acadia. And again, this is from Morris & Sons. I got 2 skeins. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to probably crochet some socks. I really loved the purples and the greens going through here. And so I'm actually excited about this. Now I'm probably going to wait until we get home to start any new projects. I'm trying to come across souvenirs, if you will, that are light, squishable, easy to pack, because we do have a lot more in front of us on our trip. We got off the ship about a week ago, and today is the 10th of November, and we still have 13 days in front of us. So we are currently in Perth, and then we're going to head up to the Great Barrier Reef in Port Douglas. We're up there for about a week, and then we're going to come down to Brisbane, and then we fly to Brisbane and back home. So we got 13 days in front of us. So I've promised the Brit that if I do buy anything, A, it's probably going to be yarn, and B, it's going to be really nice and squished. So I really loved this, and I know I've got some peeps out there who live in Australia. You might be very familiar with these guys, but if not, I encourage you to check them out. This is Morris & Sons. They have been around for over 50 years. But this is now there's a lot of your big mainstream stores. That is not what I was looking for. There's one called Spotlight. I'm sure you've heard about it. It was pretty much everywhere, big online presence, but of course I want to go and support the small business. So this is where we went. We went to Morris & Sons. Absolutely beautiful, such wonderful people, and I'm excited about this one. So this is going to be probably my winter socks. I've got enough cowls and things going on, so I'm going to crochet these socks. I might knit them. We'll see, because knitting socks isn't too difficult. It just takes a long time, and I'm kind of like a sucker for things that are fast. Anyway, so just wanted to show you where I went in Sydney. This is Morris & Sons. This was downtown Sydney on York Street. And actually it was on York Street, 52, I think it was, something like that. All right, so thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to come back to you with more videos, mostly yarn, a couple of little adventures. Okay, I'm really excited about this. But in a couple days, we're going to be heading over to Rottenest Island I'm going to go and play with the quokkas. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to stay tuned for this one because they're absolutely adorable. I'm going to be communing with the wildlife over there. So stay tuned. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. Just a quick little pop on to show you what I got as my yarn souvenir from my local yarn store at Morrison Sons in Sydney, Australia. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing and telling all your friends. And as always, I'll see you soon.